It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston. Thanks for joining me this morning as we talk about real estate here in the Charleston area. This is your first time tuning into this program. We welcome you. Thanks for joining us this Saturday morning. Got a lot to talk about this weekend. It's been a crazy week for Charleston. Crazy few weeks, actually. We're going to talk about the market this morning, among a few other things. But gosh, the past few weeks really have been pretty crazy for Charleston with Irma, and then we had the holidays before. From a real estate perspective, at least, we had kids going back to school last month. We had Labor Day. We had a lot of things that kind of distracted us from the daily grind, so to speak, of selling real estate. And I think it did have an impact a little bit on our market. So I want to talk about where we stand as a market right now this morning. I want to talk about the question that I'm getting a lot right now is it too late to list and sell my house? Should I wait until next year? When is an appropriate time for me to sell my house? And obviously there are two schools of thought here. Number one, of course, is that, hey, I can't wait to sell my house. I have to move. Or I don't have to move right now. Nothing's pushing me out of this house, but I want to time the sale right. When should I list my house? So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about a topic here that I think it's one of course, the most important things that you should talk about. But I think it's also one of the scariest things for both buyers and sellers and real estate agents to talk about: commission. I want to have a discussion this morning that revolves around commission. What's fair? What's the difference between a full-service real estate agent and somebody that discounts their commission? When would it be appropriate for somebody to charge more than what's standard for commission? Is that appropriate at all, or is that unethical? So we're going to answer those kinds of questions. But I'm in the studio this morning taking your calls, and I want to have a discussion about what I'm talking about this morning. So I invite you to give me a call. The number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. Again, that's 843-556-1250. Please join the discussion if you have something you'd like to discuss or learn more about, maybe a story you'd like to share. And then, of course, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. Of course, during the week, I'm out selling real estate. My team and I have sold almost 200 homes so far this year, and I'm very proud of them. So we'd love to earn your business. If you'd like to discuss that, please give me a call on my cell phone. My direct line is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. You can, of course, search the MLS just like I do, see everything available for sale. And if you're thinking about selling your house, you can use the tool on my website to determine what your home would potentially sell for instantly with a free home value. So listingsincharleston.com will get you that. And, of course, you can learn more about myself and my team and everything we do to sell real estate. So let's talk about the market for a little while here. I want to get through that information because it's obviously important to know where we stand. How have we fared so far this year compared to last year? What are the trends moving forward? What can we expect if we're a buyer? What can we expect if we're a seller? And then I'm going to talk about each individual county, Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester County. Where do they stand in relation to last year? What sort of trends are we looking at for them? So, as I was mentioning, August tends to be the month where things start to wane a little bit. They start to drop off a little bit. Obviously, you have the school year starting, and of course, not all buyers and sellers have children, but there are enough parents out there that don't want to uproot their kids during school years to historically have an impact on the way in which we sell real estate. It does have an impact on the seasonality, quote unquote, of our market. So that does have something to do with it. I do think that there are too many people out there that think that, hey, now that we're into September, we just, we missed it. We missed the market. We missed the summer market. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I'm going to give you some things to think about, some pros and cons with listing and selling your house in the fall and winter months. Just like with every other decision in life, there are going to be some benefits and then some things that would be considered disadvantages. So August in and of itself was a strong month. And if you look at the overall economics driving the real estate market in general, overall they're strong, they're stable. I mean, we've got some manufacturing data stating that there is a high demand for construction materials, which could prove well for, new construction communities, as of course one of the continuing issues we have in our market, not just here in Charleston, but across the nation, is inventory, a lack of available homes for sale, which again is going to play into my discussion about, is now the right time to consider listing your house, or do you wait until spring? So, August in and of itself was a good month. Let me tell you where we are in relation to last year. These are the year-to-date figures compared to the same amount of time in 2016. So if you look at new listings, new properties that have hit the market, we're up about 4% from last year. At the end of August, we put 17,500 new homes on the market. That time in 2016, we had a little over 17,000. So not a huge change there, but the pending sales, meaning contracts that have been accepted, is up 6.5%, and closings are up 5% from last year. Now, if you're selling your house, one of the big questions you have, of course, is how long is it going to take? Let's of course determine what we think it will sell for, but how long should I have to wait in order to get that price realistically? And so the days on market for the Tri-County area of Charleston right now is 56 days. That's down 7% from last year, where it was at 6%, 60 days. But of course, the big thing everybody always likes to talk about is price. And the median sales price so far this year compared to last year is up 4.5%. That's fairly close to in line with where experts said things would be headed. It's a little higher, frankly, and it's going to bounce around. You'll see that when I talk through Berkeley's numbers and Dorchester's and Charleston County's numbers, they're going to be fairly different. Obviously, Charleston County, we have a lot more sales than somewhere like Berkeley County, so obviously keep that in mind, but we'll talk about that in just a second. As I mentioned, inventory continues to be an issue in our market. If you look at the available number of homes for sale, at the end of August, there were about 5,300 homes available for sale. In August of 2016, we had almost 6,400 homes available for sale. So that's down 17%. In fact, the month's supply of inventory is down almost 23%. So the market in and of itself, it's kind of same old, and I feel like I say that a lot on this program, but it is. August was an interesting month because we had a few things stack up right in line that, again, kind of took us off course from just the daily grind of selling real estate. We had a holiday, we had a hurricane, we had kids going back to school. It did have an impact on showings. I had several sellers that were saying, what's going on? And this is just kind of what happens this time of year. We have the end of summer lull where people are getting their kids ready to go to school, or maybe they're going to college, and all of that's a very emotional time. You spend that time with your family, and yes, that takes away from buying and selling real estate. Of course, it should. But then you have all the people that are saying, all right, well, the summer's almost over. Let's get in one more good vacation before, we work from now until Thanksgiving and then again until Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. So it had an impact on our market. And so we were having people say, well, if this is the way it's going to be, if the summer market is over, quote unquote, then I'm just going to take this house off the market, or maybe I'll ride it out another month. And but after that, I'm done. I've tried selling my home for 4, 5, 6 months. It hasn't happened. I'm either going to fire you and hire a new agent, or I'm just going to wait until next year. And so, of course, I do want to talk about the timing associated with selling a house, especially this time of year. We're going to talk about that next. But what I want to mention is that this little lull in activity that we have, it happens every year. There are just things that distract us from our everyday, activities associated with selling real estate. So it's normal. But what you're going to see moving forward is there are going to be some sellers that are frustrated. They've been trying to sell their house for several months. Those properties are going to come off the market. And if they don't come off the market fairly soon, they're likely going to come off the market right around the holidays, somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas, because they don't want to deal with having their house on the market during the holidays. They've if it's not going to sell in the spring, what makes them think it's going to sell, December 20th is their mentality. So as a buyer, you're going to start to see even less inventory on the market. We've got low inventory as it stands. So for you as a buyer, I think it's incredibly important that the real estate agent you're working with is providing you with additional opportunities and resources to find properties other than what you can go and find yourself by doing a search on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, or the MLS. The agents that are performing at a very high level, by the way, are agents that are going out there and putting deals together. They're not just waiting on a buyer to say, hey, I like this house. Can you show it to me and let me in the door? And then I want to buy it, so help me negotiate a contract. They're doing things much differently. Now, of course, everybody loves the easy deal where a buyer says, hey, I really like this house. Can you help me? Of course. It doesn't get any better than that from a real estate agent's perspective. But what we're doing to go above and beyond is to say, obviously, tell me exactly what you're looking for. Tell me the neighborhoods that you would want to live in. And then that real estate agent is going out into the market and picking up the phone, making phone calls, calling hundreds of people to have dozens of conversations to try and find one person that would be willing to sell their house to a buyer if that buyer was realistic about the price. And so these agents are putting these deals together, and we've done it, I think, already almost a dozen times so far this year, where we just picked up the phone and called neighborhoods and found somebody that wanted to sell their house to a buyer we were working with. We put A and B together, and we made something happen. And as inventory continues to reduce, you need to be working with people that are going to give you every opportunity possible to find a new house, find a new place to call home. Now, if you're a seller, you do have the benefit of reduced competition. One of the many benefits, in my opinion, of selling your house in the fall and winter months. And so I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to just tell you the specific numbers for the Tri-County area, Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester County. And then we're going to get into our discussion of, does it make sense to sell your house this time of year? And I'm curious to hear from you. So if you have any questions, comments, or a story to share, give me a call. The number here in the studio, 843-556-1250. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. We'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. WTMA. Now, here's more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston. Thanks again for tuning in to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Such a pleasure to have you with me as we talk about real estate here in the Charleston area. Excuse me, if you'd like to reach out to me, you want to talk to me personally about real estate, if I can answer any questions for you, I get a lot of calls from the show and they really don't have anything to do with me helping them buy or sell real estate. I help a lot of people with just general knowledge questions. And my God, with what we're dealing with right now with, the aftermath of Irma, I've got a lot of my contractors out helping a lot of my clients, a lot of people that just need some help right now. So if that's you, if you need some help with repairs, if I can help refer somebody to you, you have a general knowledge question, or of course, if you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, feel free to give me a call. My cell is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. You can search the MLS. Everything available in our MLS is on my website. And of course, if you want to learn more about the value of your home, you can click on the Sell Your Home tab and get an instant market value report emailed right to you, and we can have a discussion about that if you'd like. But listingsincharleston.com is the website to go to. And of course, I'm in the studio, so if you guys have questions about real estate, it doesn't necessarily have to be what I'm rambling on about. It could be any topic whatsoever. Feel free to give me a call. Ask me your questions. Share your story with me. Let's have a conversation. The number here in the studio is 843-556-1250, 843-556-1250. So let me just finish up this market report, and then I want to get into a discussion about, does it make sense to sell your house this time of year? So let's go through these numbers really quickly, because I know there are plenty of you that listen to the show regularly that appreciate this segment of it. Some of you could probably care less, but let me just get through the data, and then we'll switch gears here. So with Berkeley County, I'm going to read the single-family detached, homes. I'm going to read those numbers. I'm not going to do the condos and townhome numbers. If you have a condo or a townhouse, it doesn't mean you're less important. It just means that I'm going through the data here. If you want to know more about your area, your neighborhood, you want to know more about what's going on in the market, what's selling, and how that impacts the value of your property, whether you're a house, condo, or a townhouse, very easy for me to set you up with a monthly market report. It only takes me a few minutes, and then it sends you information on a monthly basis. So listingsincharleston.com is where to go to get that information. Click the contact tab, and I'll send that to you. But here we go. Berkeley County, their new listings, new properties that have hit the market is up 10%. The average sales price is up 6%. Properties are selling for 98% of their asking price. And get this, the days on market went from 54 to 43. 43 is the average amount of time it's going to take you to sell your house. That's down 20% from this time last year. That's pretty solid. Now let's do Dorchester County. New listings, surprisingly, there's hardly been any change in the total number of new properties that have hit the market. At the end of August of 2016, there were 2,824 properties that hit the market. At the end of August in 2017, 2,831. 0.2% increase. Big deal. Closings up 2%. The average sales price up 7%, though. That's strong. That's a big number. Days on market went from 55 days last year to 45 days this year. That's down 18%. And the inventory, the available homes for sale, is down 23% from this time last year. That is, can I just pause for a second? Folks, that's a huge deal. That's a lot of property that is no longer on the market. And as you can see, there has been no change in new listings. So we're not making up for what we're absorbing. The inventory is shrinking massively in Dorchester County, which is what's pumping up that price. 7% increase so far this year. That's some pretty amazing stuff. Now, Charleston, that's obviously where we have the bulk of our sales. So the numbers are skewed because you have everything from, south of Broad to North Charleston in Charleston County. So bear with me here on the numbers. But in general, the average sales price is up 9%. It went from $440,000 in 2016 to $481,000 this year at the end of August. That's pretty crazy. Properties are selling in the same amount of time, 59 days. They're selling for 96% of their asking price. But inventory is down 15%. And that's for single-family homes. Actually, if you look at the condos and townhomes for Charleston County, they're down almost 23%. So, again, inventory continues to be an issue. And so when people ask me the question of, is now a good time to consider selling my house, I always say it depends. Let's look at the factors that need to be analyzed to determine whether now is the right time to sell or not. And so I want to have a discussion around that. If you have something that you'd like to say, if you have a story or maybe it's a success story. I was talking with a potential client the other day that said, this is my 5th home sale and I don't know what is going on, but the last 4 times I've sold my house, I have either sold them at really awkward times, like the day after Thanksgiving or, middle of January, but all 4 of my homes sold in less than 48 hours. So there's something lucky about me. I was like, man, we got to work together. So who knows what is causing you to sell? There's either the need to sell or the want to sell. Let's first differentiate that. Okay. And I forgot to give the studio number here. 556-1250 is the number here. 556-1250. If you have something you'd like to share, please give us a call. Story, experience, comment, complaint, which we don't get very many complaints, but anyways, let's first differentiate between the want to sell and the need to sell. If you need to sell, you need to sell. There's no sense in trying to time the market. You need to sell. A good real estate agent is going to help you make the most out of the time of year, no matter when you need to sell. If you need to sell, you need to sell, period. Now, if you want to sell, I understand the question of, well, should I sell now or should I wait until, spring of next year? And so I get these questions all the time. I get, how much will my house sell for? What should I list it for? And what's going to be the difference between the list price and the sales price? What if we overprice the home and it sits on the market too long? And of course, last but not least is this a good time to be selling your house? They're all very common questions, especially this time of year. And so with every decision in life, there are pros and cons. And choosing when to sell a house, of course, is no different. So there are a lot of factors that need to be taken into when you're considering selling your house. A lot of homeowners believe that, selling a house during the fall or winter months is just not a good idea, and that the spring is really the only time a house should be listed. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, certainly most real estate markets across the country experience that spring market rush, just like we do. We get it every year. And there's no doubt that the spring market in and of itself is a great time to be selling and buying real estate, but the fall and winter seasons could be the best fit for you. It could be the best time for you to sell your house. So here are a few things for you to, I think, take into consideration if you're going to sell your house this year. First and foremost is that historically, you have less competition. The proof is in the numbers because I just read them to you. You can see that inventory is reducing and that it's continuing to reduce. We don't have enough homes on the market to meet demand right now. I'm seeing it in my own business. I usually, and this is just me being, very straightforward here, but I usually carry about 40 to 50 listings at a time. We represent 40 to 50 sellers at a time. And now, before you freak out and say, how in the world do you do that and offer any resemblance of good service, I have a team of 15 people, okay? We're now down to like 20 listings. We continue to sell our listings so fast that we're running out of stuff to sell. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit of an issue. When you carry a certain amount of inventory, you get buyers that inquire about it. And if for whatever reason that house doesn't work out for that particular buyer and we have similar listings, then we can create this machine that pumps our business full of buyers that ends up helping our sellers sell their property. We're generating about 1,000 leads per month. We're generating about 1,000 new buyers per month through all of our different marketing efforts for our listings. And I know that probably doesn't mean anything to you, but that's a massive amount of people. And obviously that I'm not getting into marketing and everything like that on this topic here. But the point in telling you that is just to tell you that if you are a seller in Charleston at this specific point in time, the market supports your interest in selling right now. Now, having said that, all real estate is local. All real estate is hyper-local for that matter. There are going to be differences neighborhood to neighborhood. There are going to be differences, obviously, area to area, Mount Pleasant versus Somerville versus James Island versus Moncks Corner and everything in between. But in and of itself, or just the market in general right now is a good time to consider selling your house. And of course, one of the big factors there is less competition. I mean, one way that you can tell the spring real estate market has arrived is by just driving down the street in a neighborhood in Mount Pleasant and you see all the for sale signs. It's just people have been coached over time to put your house for sale in spring. And so, yeah, there are some more buyers in spring, but there are a heck of a lot more sellers. So I think you actually reduce your market share of available buyers by choosing to list in the spring. Now, I will also say that I think this time of year is full of more serious buyers. And the reason I say that is because, actually for the past 3 years, December has been my best month in sales, believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy. I don't know if it's because I'm working when other people aren't or there's all this pent-up demand, but I will tell you this, the people that are willing to work with me in the fall and winter months are serious. They are the get-it-done type of people. They're not the, hey, let's try and dip our toe in the water and test the market and see if I can sell my home for 10% more than what it's worth type of market. And so you have more serious buyers this time of year. Think about that. Nobody, I think, in their right mind is going to sacrifice time away from family during the holidays to go kick tires and look at real estate. Of course, you're going to have some, but that's not the norm. If someone's looking at real estate in November or early December, they're serious, because trust me, there are plenty of other things that they could be doing with their time. I would also say that this time of year, the best real estate agents are always up for the challenge. Again, if you need to sell your house, you need to sell your house. A real estate agent that's really good at what they do is going to determine how we get the most money for your house. They're going to develop a plan based on the time of year, and they're going to use their expertise to help you get the job done. Now, if a real estate agent says, hey, you should just wait until spring, it's just not a good idea to sell this time of year, and you need to sell, that might not be the best real estate agent for you to choose, because you need to find somebody that's motivated to get your goals accomplished. Now, if you just want to sell, things are a little different. You're going to have agents out there, they're going to try and obviously get you to list in spring because they don't want to work during the holidays. And that's the God's honest truth. So make sure the agent that you hire this time of year is up for the challenge, that they don't have, 2 months worth of vacation planned. They got to be around to sell the house. I would also say that this time of year, you usually have transactions happen a little quicker. In the spring and summer months, it's just busy. It's just a busy time of year. So closing attorneys are busy. Lenders are busy. Usually you can get a closing done a little faster this time of year, which is a good thing. But the last thing I want to mention before taking a break is that pricing for comparable properties they're most attractive in the fall and winter months. And here's what I mean by that. If you were to call me up today and say, hey, Brian, what do you think my house is worth? I'm going to look at everything that has sold over the past 6 months. If I'm looking at 6 months worth of data in October, then, how far I'm going back to April. And the closings from April to October represent the bulk of the closings in our market. It also represents a higher price for similar properties. Now, if we were going to list in the spring, if you were to call me in March and say, hey, when am I, how much is my home worth? I'd be looking at comps from, October to March or September to March. Usually those comps aren't quite as strong because there aren't as many of them. In a rising market, however, prices are always going to rise. It's just that the rate by which properties accelerate is higher in the spring and summer months than it is in the fall and winter months. We lose a little bit of steam, but we get to benefit from all the closings we had when the market was hot, if that makes sense. So what's my conclusion here? What's the summary to all of this? Except for certain areas or in certain neighborhoods where there is an oversupply of property currently on the market, and some of those areas do exist right now in the Charleston market, believe it or not, for the overwhelming majority of people, now is a really, really attractive time to consider putting your house on the market. But let's look at the numbers, let's look at the data, and let's look at the competition, and let's see if it makes sense. I'm willing to bet it will make sense for you to sell now. And I'll tell you that we have a lot of buyers that are looking for properties, and they're kind of just sitting around, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for something to happen. So if you're thinking about selling your house, please give me a call, and I'll walk you through that. My number personally, my cell, is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or again, go to listingsincharleston.com. When we come back, we're going to really get into it. We're going to talk about commission, that one thing that agents don't really like to talk about. So all that and more as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA. WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston. Thanks again for tuning into the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. I always like to take a little bit of time and just say thank you. Thank you to those of you that listen to this program. It's always a pleasure to be on here and talk about real estate, talk about what I'm passionate about. I've been selling real estate for 11 years. We've helped about 1,000 people in the Charleston market with buying or selling a house. And so we'd love to help you. We'd love to earn your business. If you're thinking about buying or selling a house either this year or next, we work with people that are ready now and ready 3 years from now. It really doesn't matter. We'd love to earn your business, though. So feel free to give me a call. My cell phone number is 843-345-1273. That's 843-345-1273. Or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Learn more about myself and my team. Listen to previous versions of the show. Search the MLS. Find out what your home is worth. All that fun stuff on listingsincharleston.com. Now, I want to get into kind of the meat of what I wanted to talk about this morning, and that is commission. Commission is one of those things where we as real estate agents hope you don't bring it up because we don't have to. We don't want to have to defend ourselves. Some are willing to, some are not. In terms of reducing their commission, some are going to be hard and fast on what they charge based on their perception of their own value. Some are just going to cave every time you ask them. Some are going to say, no, I'm a full service real estate agent. Some are going to say, well, I'm a discount agent, and that's my differentiating factor is my ability to sell your house for less money. But are they selling your home for less money and compromising on value? I support the notion that discount agents can end up costing you more money than paying the fair market rate for a real estate agent. So I want to have a discussion about that, and we've got, a little over 15 minutes left. I'd love to hear from you. I want to know what you think about real estate commissions. Are they too high? Should they be negotiable? Should a real estate agent be expected to reduce their commission? Is it ethical for a real estate agent to charge more than fair market value for commission? In other words, is it fair for a real estate agent to charge more than 6%? Is it fair for a seller to ask a real estate agent to chip in commission in order to get a deal done? So those are some of the things that I want you to think about. Feel free to call into the studio. I'd love to hear what you think. The number here, 843-556-1250, 843-556-1250. So let me kind of get into this discussion here. Every seller, regardless of which agent they choose, every seller wants to net the most money possible when it comes to the sale of their house. After everything is all said and done, all the bills are paid, commissions paid, so on and so forth, they care about netting the most money possible. But in the pursuit of that, many sellers kind of unknowingly cost themselves money when they choose to work with an agent that offers a discount commission. So let me explain this. I'm not knocking discount agents. I'm telling you the difference between a discount agent and a full service agent. And it's going to take me a little time to do that. But again, if you have questions, you have something you want to discuss, maybe a story you'd like to share, anything having to do with commission, feel free to give me a call. 843-556-1250. 556-1250 is the number here in the studio. Now, when a seller chooses a real estate agent and that agent is offering a discounted commission, there are a few things that I think most sellers assume are at least they're typically making the same assumptions about real estate agents, meaning all real estate agents are the same, or they'll say something like, look, this house is going to sell itself, or look, the price is going to be the price, or, the property's going to get the same exposure whether I list with a discount agent or a full service agent because it's going to be on the MLS, which couldn't be further from the truth, by the way. Or they're going to say something like, the service is going to be just about the same. I mean, what really is a full service agent going to do for me that a discount broker won't do for me? All 5 of those assumptions, by the way, are false. They are misleading. They're incorrect. Hiring a discount real estate agent in the hopes of kind of netting the most money on the sale of your house, to me is very similar to like walking into a Mercedes dealership and wanting to buy a car for the same price as a Ford. And nothing against Fords, by the way. I'm a Mustang man. I've never had one, but I always preferred the Mustang over the Camaro. You know what I mean. Anyways, while a Mercedes and a Ford are both cars, I mean, they offer transportation. There's a distinct value different. They're just different. They can get you from point A to point B, but how they get you there is going to be drastically different. So the same is true of discount agents and full service agents. I mean, both can get the job done in terms of selling the house, but how they get the job done is going to be worlds apart. So let me kind of finish this one little thought right here, and then I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to finish on this. We're talking about the difference between discount agents and full service agents. And again, if you have a comment or a story you'd like to share, the number here in the studio, 843-556-1250. But the discount agent has a discount orientation. They have a discount mindset. Their value to you as a seller is they offer to perform the service of helping you sell your house for less money. Their focus is on saving you money. The discount agent is they're focused on the commission as a fee, which when you look at polls among people and what's most important to them when selling the house, the commission is very, very low on the scale. What is at the top of the scale is selling their home for the most amount of money. It's more sales price driven rather than savings driven. And so the discount agent is discount oriented, whereas the full service agent is more retail oriented, meaning their job is to provide you with the best value possible so that you can net the most money. There are different ways of doing that. We're going to go to Mark in James Island. Mark, how are you this morning? Oh, I think we lost Mark. Oh, well. Mark, if you're still listening, call back, 556-1250, and I'll catch you after the break.
Mark wanted to agree with you. He said that you're absolutely right. Based upon his experiences, real estate agents vary and their services vary, what you get for the money, so to speak. So he was in total agreement based upon his experience.
Yeah, and different people have different reasons for hiring a real estate agent. Some people really do truly believe that the discount agent and the full service agent offer the same things and they're going to give you the same experience. It really couldn't be further from the truth. And the best way to support that is to work with both. I mean, I'm not advocating working with a discount agent, but for anybody that has and then hired a top-notch full-service agent, they can speak to how different it truly can be. And think about it from, several different industries, not just real estate, any service-based industry. Or think about it this way. I'm going to leave you with this thought, and I'm going to come back. If you have a spinal injury, is a world-renowned Los Angeles-based spinal surgeon going to do your surgery for the same amount as some ER doctor in Boise, Idaho? No, nothing against Boise, Idaho, but is the experience going to determine whether they charge more or less money? Does it have any impact whatsoever on what they charge and on your perceived value? I think it's very similar with real estate agents, although I would never in a million years compare myself to, a doctor or spinal surgeon. They went to school a lot longer than I did. But the concept is the same, is that if you want something more than just the standard, typically you're willing to pay more for it because of the value associated with it. So what I want you to point your attention toward over the next 10 minutes when we come back here is value. What are you getting for the money if you're going to hire a discount agent versus paying the normal rate? And how can it actually cost you money? So all that and more as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston, to the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks again for joining me this morning as we talk about real estate. We've got a few minutes left, so if you have anything you want to talk about with regard to real estate commission, which is what I'm going to finish my thought on this morning, the number here in the studio, 843 556-1250, 556-1250. Now, if you want to talk to me personally about real estate, I can help you in any way, shape, or form. You're thinking about buying or selling. Our team has sold about 1,000 houses here over the past several years in Charleston, almost 200 already this year. So we'd love to earn your business. My number personally is 843-345-1273. That's 345-1273. And my website is listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or you can always email me, brianbeattyteam@gmail.com. So let me finish this thought here on, can hiring an agent that discounts their commission and thus their services actually end up costing you more money when you sell your house versus just paying the standard real estate commission for a full-service real estate agent? So discount agents, obviously, they use commission as a tool to get your business. Full-service agents use commission as part of their marketing plan to attract more buyers who will be motivated to promote your home to all of their buyers. I'll tell you a very quick story. I had a seller a little while ago that said, I want to hire you, Brian, but I'm only going to pay a 4% commission. And I need, however you want to split that up with the other agent is fine. Do 2 and 2. And she was in an area where there were several other properties available for sale, and they were well priced. There was good value in her neighborhood. And so I had to tell her point blank, I said, look, first of all, I'm not going to agree to a 4% commission. But in general, when you go and you try and find your next real estate agent, I want to just tell you that if you offer out a 2% commission to a buyer agent, you're essentially signing a death sentence, because there are other properties out there that are offering 3%, but there's also new construction that's offering up to 5% commission. So let's just forget this conversation really quickly about full service versus discount agents. Let's talk for just a quick second about what we're offering the buyer agents to show your house. We want to incentivize them to bring their buyers to our listing. You can call it a bribe if you want. We want to bribe them to show our properties. But we don't want the buyer agent to have a reason to say, well, let's not look at that property for whatever reason. We want to incentivize them to say, yes, let's go and take a look at it. Or better yet, we want to motivate them to show the property. Now, let's say you have a property and it's, your monthly average payment on it is $3,000 a month. Okay, that's between your mortgage, your taxes, and your interest or your insurance. What if you said, bring me a acceptable offer within the first 30 days and I'll pay you a $3,000 bonus? And you get it, under contract in a week. How is that much different than paying another month's worth of mortgage payments? Let's use some creative thinking here to incentivize people to show our properties. If they have a 2%, if a buyer agent is working with a buyer, that buyer to them is worth 3% of the maximum amount of home that buyer is going to purchase. So if we're offering them 2%, that's a 33% reduction in their paycheck to show your house. That is not an incentive for them to view your property. So we want to do everything possible to incentivize them, which means we really need to offer them 3%. That's the going rate. We can encourage them additionally through bonuses, and there are creative ways of doing that, but that is a very important thing for you to understand, is that if you hire a discount agent, there's only so much commission to share. If let's say they're doing it at 4.5% commission and they're offering 2.5% to a buyer agent and they're keeping 2%, well, already you're offering a buyer agent less than what they usually get paid to bring a buyer to your property. But you're also dealing with a situation where the listing agent is making substantially less than what they would make if they were doing a full service agreement or representing somebody with full service, earning about a 6% commission, give or take, which means they don't have as much of a budget. They don't have the ability to market your property continuously or hire people to leverage themselves and create more activity on your home. See, for me, I've been very strategic about building my business slowly but surely over time, and I have 15 people now. That allows me to do an incredibly large amount of marketing activities for my sellers in comparison to, say, a single agent. They just don't have that kind of firepower. So it's not just about the commission that they charge, it's about the value that you receive. So I appreciate you guys listening to that. If I can help you in any way, 843-345-1273 is my cell, 345-1273, or go to listingsincharleston.com. Thanks again, Charleston. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks for listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273.